Boom. Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is my student Joanne. Now, Joanne has actually been going through a pretty nice growth, and it's like a lot of internal shifts that I kind of want to share with you today. I'm super grateful for her and like for her, putting trust in our program and actually wanting to get started with us. So let's kind of dive into that and just really get going. Joanne, maybe you can kind of like just tell the audience like I've sent it to introducing yourself.
Right, yeah, so I'm Joanne Sharma. I started my bookkeeping business back in 2020, like right after the pandemic hit. I did have some experience with bookkeeping, but before then, I was doing engineering for 13 years and I transitioned into this. Like I wanted a business where I could be home with my kids. And but it's easier said than done. So it's
Uh,
been a journey.
yeah, yeah. I really want to dive deep into that, like what it's been like to spend with your kids. I remember on some of our coaching calls, like your kids are running through, and it's just like so cool to like see you and your husband like just growing and like really chasing your dreams. I mean, that's so incredible, to be able to actually have them watch that example. And yeah, let's even go back, before we started working together. So I guess like what were some of the challenges that you were going through before we started working together?
So before I started working, so I mean, I did get a program when I was back in 2020 to start my business. I do like having guidance, but I still wasn't sure in myself, like in my skills. And so I was pricing myself low because I just didn't think anyone really pay a lot for my services. To me, like I just thought bookkeeping wasn't that. You could only really make so much doing bookkeeping, even though I enjoyed it. And so then I get to a point actually where my husband was telling me that it's not, I gotta, I'm actually sacrificing time with my kids, but I'm not making a lot of money making that sacrifice. Like it didn't seem worth it. So I let go half of my clients earlier this year, and I figured I need to rebuild my business, but do it correctly.
Uh, Yeah. So I think that you had got up to an okay point, like $2,800 a month. And then I guess when you right before you started working there, you dropped it down to about like $780 per month, correct?
Yeah, I just all my clients that really took up a lot of my time. Like I just dropped it, except for like this one main client. If they're like, okay, I'll use them as an example for the future.
I see. Yeah, yeah. I remember that. And like, I mean, that takes a lot of courage, right? I mean, because like, I think that's the thing I see with like people who are successful, right? Is like they're okay leaving good slash okay to go to great, that just kind of seems like that's what you embody.
I think it has to do with that, as I call it, like the CEO mindset, and just I just knew like if I was kept just thinking small and I let my time get taken up by like all this thing that were making me just a little bit of money, like I wasn't letting myself keeping myself open for opportunities where I would be making more money.
I see. Yeah, and that's the principle, right? You have to kind of like invest or let go of stuff in order to like receive. Like you're making room to receive. It's kind of what I've kind of found. I mean, that's really, really cool that you had that going for you. And then okay, so then yeah, that's it. Where did you first hear about like me in our program?
So I actually first saw you on a Facebook ad, but I didn't have any interest then because I was so overwhelmed with the work. I'm like, I can't take on new clients because I'm so busy um, servicing my current clientele. But then after I let go my clients, half of my clients, and then I decided to, okay, I'm now going to focus on this on my business. And I love watching like YouTube videos to hear what other people have to say about yeah, business and sales. And then I saw your YouTube videos, and I just like loved like all the advice that you had on there. So like I was like, yeah, I need I need to talk to Bryce.
Wow, interesting, interesting. Yeah, wow, that seems like the biggest. Okay, yeah, and because I guess like why did you? That makes sense. Wow. So you saw the ad. It took a little bit of time for it to like resonate with you that it's like, okay, maybe that's something I need help with because life was just kind of in a weird spot. But then I remember when we did our call together, our discovery call to like see if there was potential like um ability for us to get to the next level, you said you kind of wanted to wait for 3-ish months. Like, tell me, like, what was the thought process there?
Okay, yeah. So because I was working with a coach at that time who was helping me, and build the processes for my business. Because that was another thing. It's like I want to be able to handle the work when I
Mhm.
get it. Um, but so then I was paying for her program because, yeah, but as I said, I let go of half my clients. So I didn't really have a lot of revenue coming in. And
Uh,
so then when we talked, but I wanted to talk to you, I thought, okay, I want to have this in place for when I feel like I'm ready.
uh,
So I just wanted to talk to you beforehand. But then and then when we talked, like I just realized like it just didn't make sense to wait. Like I already had people reaching out to me asking for my services. And like I just felt like I was letting that opportunity go if like I didn't have someone helping me to actually get know how to talk and say like and get more revenue.
yeah. Oh, that makes sense too. Yeah, because I mean, I know on the call I was like, oh my God, this person's saying they want to wait. And I was like, oh, that's she's about to let this big opportunity pass them because like you were like right there. Like for you, it seems like it's just correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like pricing has been the biggest thing that you kind of like learned because you I think almost every text message you do when you ever get a client, you're like, I doubled my price or I tripled my price what I used to charge. And then your sales skills, that's one thing. It's like you're like developing those, and you seem like you're very competent on consultation calls now.
Yeah, that was the thing with the sales skills because before, like I used to think, okay, how much do I think this person can afford? And so
Mm.
I didn't really spend. I mean, I did spend some time like thinking of my sales script and like how I mean, and I know it's supposed to be like a conversation, but then also getting comfortable asking the right questions because it's like it needed to make sense to me. Like, why am I asking them for their goals? Like, why am I asking them, what's your current process? Like, what happens if this doesn't get fixed? Like, what's going to happen? And so then now I feel it makes more sense. And now I feel more comfortable asking people these questions where I feel like, okay, I'm helping them out. This helps me get to know like the whole picture. And then I feel like my prices are justified because that's like another thing, like feeling like I'm not price gouging. Like I need to feel good with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I want to actually unpack both of those. First, let's go and unpack the sales skills. And let's unpack the price gouging. 'Cause I want to like make sure we can dive deep into this. So like, because I remember we did a very specific call where we were going through the different questions on like the sales scripting, right? And like I
Mhm.
think we were talking about like why are you saying this? How should you say this? Don't be afraid to ask this. Tell me about like what was that like? I guess like really diving into those sales scripts and like knowing what to say.
It was nerve-wracking at first. I guess like I feel like I've been really getting out of my comfort zone, but it also feels exhilarating because like I feel like, yeah, this is important information to know. Where I ask, where people will say, well, I talked to this other person, and now I can get to ask more questions. Oh, well, why? What's like? Why do you? How did that conversation go with that other bookkeeper? Because before it would felt like intrusive, like, oh, I shouldn't, it's private information. If they didn't tell me, I'm not going to ask. But now it just it makes sense. Like, yeah, like let's get the whole picture.
Yeah. It's almost like once you knew what you're supposed to do, but then you had permission that it was okay to do the thing. That's okay. Let's go.
Yeah. And I think also what was great was, like I said, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have this call and then I'm going to go over it with Bryce and say like, okay, how could I mean, even if I did land the client, I'd say like, how can I do this better? Um, because I want to increase my skills and then so then I was just less nervous on the call because like I know I'm going to get better at this. Like if I don't land this one, there's more down the road. I'm just getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's the other thing too, because I mean, like every single time, like you would come and we would review your calls, and like every call seemed like you were getting more and more confident. Like I said, your voice sounds more deep here. Your sounds like you're relaxed, you're laughing. It sounds like 'cause that was another thing too. I don't remember the first day you came in the program. I kind of gave you some onboarding homework that kind of was putting you out of your comfort zone, and you kind of gave me a little bit of pushback, right? And that's the one thing I was kind of holding you accountable, in a kind of nice way, but it's like I don't even ever hear you even say anything like that anymore. It's just like, okay, you tell me to do something, okay, let's attack it. Let's figure it out. What has that shift in confidence been like, for you?
I mean, it's been great. It's just, I think it's just like at first, it's because like, yeah, I wasn't sure about things. I mean, I knew you, like, you knew what you were talking about, but then it was just like getting over my own hesitations. And then now it just seeing it actually work, I think is what's been helpful. Instead of getting stuck in my own head, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to try it and then see what happens.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then okay, and then you even mentioned like with the price gouging. So one thing I don't think a lot of people think about is that if you're charging too low, you end up actually value gouging your clients because you can't spend enough time with them. They feel like a burden. Every time they contact you, it's irritating. I guess like what has that kind of been like now that you can expand your prices and work a little bit more deeply with some of like your newer clients?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you should say that because yeah, I'm making that shift because now in the consultation calls, like when you had said, like if someone asked me, well, why are your prices so high? And then I say, well, yeah, like I'm able to spend more time with you as a client instead of like you're just another client on my list, and it just makes more sense. So like the one client that I did keep, I feel bad that I do feel a little bit like they're not paying me as much as my other clients, so I just don't feel as not obligated, but it's just yeah, like I know we're gonna have to revisit their price later, but yeah, I just it's not fair.
Uh, okay. Okay, yeah. So man, there's a lot of lessons in like in a short period of time because like you sent me the text message the other day. You said, okay, so I was at like 2,800 like a couple months before we started. I fired all my clients. Then last month I was at 780. Then this month I'm at $5,000 per month. And it's just like that's a span of like 35, 36-ish days. That wasn't that long ago. You're at 780 a month.
Yeah, like oh my god, I thought all right, if I just make like I don't know 3,000 in the next quarter, like that would be great. But it's just I've really come a long way when I was like when I was writing the text, like I was like, oh wait a minute, wow, I've doubled. I've doubled, and it
Yeah.
hasn't even been that long.
Yeah.
And then someone else actually just booked a call with me today to I guess I'm
Uh,
gonna have like another consultation call. Like it's just
uh,
they just keep coming.
Yeah, and you have another call on Tuesday, which that's a big one who already told you no in the past, but now they're like circling back.
Oh yeah, that was another thing because before um people would and I would ask, okay, well this one ghosted me. They never got back to me. And then I'm like, well, and then they're like, okay, yeah, just reach out twice, and then if nothing, just move on.
Yeah.
And then like after talking with you, we're like, you gotta stay on top of these people. You're not bothering them. And so like I felt when he responded back and saying, yes, like I'm behind on my bookkeeping, I just felt like, yeah, I'm staying on top of you. I'm taking care of you. Like
And I mean, the cool thing here, 5 grand a month this month, but we still have about 7, 8 days left in this month.
oh yeah, yeah.
Two more consultations already booked for one later on this week and then one next week. Let's see. Well, let's fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Let's see if we get to like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Because especially because you said that this other one is a really potentially a big client too.
Yeah.
Um, is it a dental office or what kind of or it's veterinarian? What is it?
Veterinarian office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with a few employees. So yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be kind of cool? If we like end the month off of like 6, 7 grand a month.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the highest I've ever made in a month.
yeah. Aren't you glad you kind of had that epiphany not to wait? Because I mean, this is all before the starting deadline that you said you would want to like circle back.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because so like I remember on the call when you were like, "Why are you waiting?" Because I was like, "Well, I already have a coach right now, and I'm like, I wasn't gonna like I only have so much money right now, and but like yeah, like it's like you didn't let me get in my own way. Like it just felt like okay, like that also gave me was like made me feel good about like asking those kind of questions to prospective clients because I'm like, yeah, like I don't sometimes people just they need help making a decision. And like I just
Mhm.
felt like if you had just said, all right, yeah, well, we could just
Yeah,
just talk later, just let it go. I was like, Oh my God, I want to be in the
Yeah.
spot I am now.
Yeah, that's crazy because like no matter what size level of business owner you're talking to, whether they're making like $1, they're making like $10 million a year, they don't always make the best decisions for their future. So being able to like have that kind of like we call it reframing inside the program. If you're like, watch this, it's called reframing, right? It's a different type of energy because you're not objection handling and you're not like arguing people. It's different, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's like the way I was seeing it before, it's like, well, I want to please the person. I'm like, I want to be agreeable.
Mm.
But then it's also yeah, you're helping them like see fully what it is, what it is that they're saying. And like, if you want to get here, like this is what you
Mm.
do. But yeah, you're not being confrontational. You're just like letting them come to that conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah, the new objection handling script is like super subliminal because it's just like they automatically like have you'll see it on their face, it's just ching, like a light bulb is like, oh yeah. And it's just they're totally different person from like 1 second to the next second. If you do it correctly, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I really appreciate, you kind of putting your trust in us. I know there's a lot of different things out there that you could have kind of done and stuff that you have been doing in the past. Uh, yeah, so I'm really grateful for you, grateful for all the stuff that you've done, grateful for all the stuff that. Ooh, one more story. Tell about time 4 days ago when your electric client canceled or no showed your call. What did you
Oh
do?
yeah. Oh my God, I was so bummed because like I'm waiting on Zoom and she didn't show up. And so I was like, I guess, yeah, she just really wasn't that interested. But then I'm like, you know what? I have these other potential clients that they didn't they also ghosted me as well. And that's why I
Uh,
thought, you know what? I'm gonna follow up with them because I know they're probably they probably still need help because before I would have thought they ghosted me, that's because they found someone else. And so yeah, that's
mm,
when I emailed the vet, and then he responded back with a couple hours saying, yeah, I need help, when can you stop by?
yeah,
And then I actually had another call later that day that was already scheduled with someone else, and then it was the same thing where, I mean, and I said my prices, which was like higher than I normally do. And then she was like, okay, great. Yeah. When can you stop by? And I was like, all right, that's it.
let's do it. Awesome. Yeah. So I mean that was a big shift. When you sent me the text message, you said I she no showed me, but then I went and got two or three other leads. I was like, ooh, that's a killer right there. That's someone that's like, okay, that's the right energy.
Exactly. That was like, I'm not going to let this tell me that, or all right, you know what? I guess it's just not going to work out. I should just, I stop thinking so big. But then I'm like, no. Like I'm in Bryce's program. Like there's things that I can do. It's not over yet.
That's that's how it is in this life. It's like faith over fear, right? Because some people would take that as like a reason to kind of like take a step back or like maybe go take the day off of business, right? Versus you, it's like people who win, it's like you lean into that kind of fear, that confusion. And it's just like, okay, that might not have worked out. Oh, and then the person ended up like just saying she was sick and she ended up rescheduling with you, right?
Oh yeah, and now she signed the engagement letter. So yeah, I'm gonna yeah.
And that's why you got to follow up with people. It's just like it's this loop, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like yeah, and I can't wait to kind of like I think tonight on our coaching call, because I am started running a little bit close to the time today, but on our coaching call tonight, let's talk about like some different like follow-up stuff that you can do. Because guys, you gotta remember too, watching this, she didn't need that many leads. This is only with probably like 4 or 5 different leads that she's like growing her business like this. So it's like when you do this stuff right, you don't need to be a marketing expert. It's just you just do the steps right. So awesome. Well, I really appreciate, you doing this. I really appreciate you sharing your story. And yeah, I guess maybe there's someone who's on the fence watching this thing. Maybe they're like, oh, I'm interested in Bryce's program, but maybe just fear is kind of like, hesitation is coming up. I guess like what would you say to them?
Yeah, you can't let the fear get in the way. I mean, like I'm a strong believer that you can't well, you need someone's help. You can't just do it on your own. Like I said, like I was watching YouTube videos. I mean, I still do, but having someone there helping you like one-on-one, and then also just helping you get over your fears. Like it's necessary.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Where do people maybe go to learn more about you?
Well, it's my website, joannesbookkeeping.com.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. So I appreciate your time. I will talk soon, and we're done recording in 3, and 2, and 1.